Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our Ask Me Anything Friday. I am so incredibly grateful that you've decided to carve out a few minutes of your busy morning or afternoon to join me here in this digital sanctuary. This is a space we've built together, a place where the masks of professional perfection can be set aside and where we can get down to the honest, sometimes messy, but always transformative work of self-discovery and growth. Today, I want to go deeper than we ever have before into 4 pillars that I believe dictate the quality of our lives and the longevity of our careers: mindset, pressure, burnout, and resilience. These aren't just buzzwords to be tossed around in a boardroom. They are the very fabric of our daily experience, and understanding how they weave together is the key to moving from a state of mere survival into a state of true, sustainable thriving. Let's start with the concept of mindset, which I often describe as the silent architect of our reality. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret every single event that happens to you. It is the internal narrative that decides whether a mistake is a catastrophic failure or a vital data point for future success. We often don't realize that we are walking around with mindsets that were formed years ago, perhaps influenced by early teachers, past bosses, or even our own childhood insecurities. When we talk about mindset today, I want us to look at how we can consciously renovate that internal space. It's about moving beyond the simple binary of growth versus fixed and looking at the nuances of how we talk to ourselves when no one else is listening. If your mindset is rooted in scarcity or fear, every opportunity will look like a threat. But if we can cultivate a mindset of curiosity and abundance, the entire landscape of our lives begins to shift. I want to hear about the mental blocks you're facing, those recurring thoughts that tell you that you aren't ready or that the other shoe is about to drop. This leads us directly into the heavy, often suffocating topic of pressure. We live in an era of unprecedented connectivity and competition, where the pressure to perform, to scale, to innovate, and to be on 24 hours a day is relentless. There is the external pressure from stakeholders, clients, and the market, but often the most damaging pressure is the internal kind, the weight we place on our own shoulders to be everything to everyone at all times. Pressure can be a powerful catalyst. It can turn coal into diamonds, and it can push us to achieve things we never thought possible. However, when pressure is constant and lacks a release valve, it stops being a motivator and starts becoming a toxin. It affects our decision-making, our health, and our relationships. I want to explore with you how to distinguish between eustress, which is that positive driving tension, and the chronic stress that leads to systemic breakdown. How do you handle the heat when the stakes are at their highest? If pressure is the heat, then burnout is the resulting fire that has been left to roar uncontrolled for too long. Burnout is a word that gets used a lot, but I think we often underestimate its severity. It isn't just being tired or needing a long weekend. True burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. It's that feeling of being a hollowed-out version of yourself, where the passion that once fueled your work has been replaced by cynicism and resentment. It's a terrifying place to be because it feels like you've lost your spark and you aren't sure if it will ever come back. We need to talk openly about the warning signs, the irritability, the detachment, the physical ailments, and we need to talk about the courage it takes to admit when you've reached your limit. There is no shame in burnout, but there is a great deal of danger in ignoring it. But the story doesn't end with burnout, and that is where resilience comes into play. Resilience is perhaps the most misunderstood of these 4 themes. People often think resilience means being tough or unbreakable like a piece of granite, but granite cracks under enough pressure. True resilience is more like bamboo. It is flexible, it bends in the storm, and it has the capacity to spring back. Resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, or significant sources of stress. It's about building the emotional and psychological muscles that allow you to navigate the dark valleys and find your way back to the light. It's not about avoiding the struggle, it's about what you learn while you're in the middle of it. Resilience is built in the moments when you choose to get back up, when you seek support, and when you find meaning in the hardship. It is a skill that can be practiced and perfected over time. I am opening the floor now because I know that many of you are sitting with questions that you've been hesitant to ask. Maybe you're wondering how to maintain a positive mindset when your business is facing a downturn. Maybe you're feeling the crushing pressure of a new promotion and you're worried you're in over your head. Perhaps you're seeing the early flickers of burnout in your team and you don't know how to intervene, or you're trying to figure out how to rebuild your own resilience after a major personal setback. Please know that in this space, there is no question too small, too basic, or too personal. If it matters to you, it matters to me. We are all navigating this complex human experience together, and sometimes just voicing the question is the first step toward finding the answer. You can drop your questions right here in the comments for the benefit of the whole community, or if you're looking for a more confidential space to share, my DMs are wide open and I check them personally. Let's use this Friday to stop the clock, take a deep breath, and engage in the kind of conversation that actually moves the needle. I am standing by and I cannot wait to hear from you.